Welcome back to another episode of the Blitz Break. I'm your host, Phil Rasmussen, and a very happy holidays to all of you out there. Thanks for joining us again on another Friday. Hopefully you had a wonderful Christmas. As always, joined today by my partner in crime, a legendary Texan who went back to the old school shoes and clearly didn't get a Christmas gift of new shoes for his
I didn't. I'm still sticking with the good oldies.
The good oldies.
But in the next week or so, be careful.
Be careful.
Be careful.
Well, Mr. Howard, Buzz Howard, back as always with us. And before we dig into any holiday conversation, our guest today coming back to join us, the broker owner of Kinkaid Insurance Services. Originator with Integrity Mortgage and an AI expert, Michelle Kinkaid. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
We are excited to have you. And as always, I wish we could have even recorded what we were talking about before we got started here, because so much information to pull out of that very impressive brain of yours. So excited to be back with you guys. How was your guys' Christmas?
Oh, man. We were supposed to go up to Reno. And I don't know if you guys were watching the news, but Wednesday night, huge storm up there. People were stuck for hours. And last minute, we decided, no, we'll wait till the weekend to go up there and see the family. So yesterday, we didn't hardly get off the couch because we didn't have anything planned.
Yeah.
And so it was actually kind of nice just to catch up on all the Christmas movies.
There you go. Well, Christmas Story plays 24/7.
Oh my gosh.
2 days. It's like my wife's favorite movie, so it's on like 12 channels for the entire day. So even if you want to avoid it. How about you, Michelle?
It was amazing. I just stayed with my kids. We baked cookies. We watched movies. We played Nintendo, especially some old school ones.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Yes, some Just Dance. I don't know if you guys have played that game on the Xbox. So fun. Yeah. Love it.
That's awesome. Well, okay, so I have to ask, what old school Nintendo games? Because that's...
Okay, so our favorite ones are Mario Kart, because we like to race each other and we can all play at the same time. And then there's Luigi's Haunted Mansion.
Great one.
I don't know if you played that one. They love to capture me, so I'm always the ghost, and they have to put the flashlight on me. And the other one's Mario Chase, which is really, really fun. So you have to find someone's like the it person, and then two people have to go running around looking for them in all these little areas, and it's fun. It's like a chase. You know, kids love to be chased, and it's a good time.
Awesome. Yeah. That's a favorite pastime of mine. I look at some of my favorite like college memories in the summer times. We would play the original Nintendo, and we'd play all the Mario Brothers.
Yes.
Little League World Series, baseball. Some of my workout buddies would play for hours, double dribble, all that. And my kids are always just like, the graphics are terrible. The graphics suck. I'm like, it's an old video game.
Well, it's like 2D and it goes across the board like that. Now that I can play, by the way. My son at one point was trying to get me to play Mario Galaxy with him. That's a whole another thing that I can't, my brain can't wrap around. He kept like losing me. Like I'd fall off a cliff or something, and then he would just keep on going. It's like, it's not linear, what I'm used to.
Well, I think I missed my growing up with games was Pong.
Yeah.
Who were the first ones, some of those older ones. So I never got into video gaming ever. I'm really bad at it. My son, however, is really good. I watch him play some of the games, and I'm going, I take the thing and I can't even get it to move, and he's just all over the place. But what's going to be interesting with all of the AI, the games are starting to look like real people playing these games. So it's going to get very, very realistic. Of course, you'll have to have a mega computer to run some of them, but it's some of the stuff that I'm seeing that they're teasing right now are going to be amazing games.
Well, that and the VR. Like a lot of kids now we have a VR. We have the Meta one.
The Meta VR, we do too.
We do too.
And it's unreal, and it's just getting more and more fine tuned. The kids and I actually a couple weeks ago we went to the big Titanic VR experience that was in Sacramento.
Oh no, I didn't hear about that.
That was like next level. So we had like little pods of 5 people, and it's in this big warehouse looking room. There's nothing in the room but just a big warehouse with a bunch of like tape X's like all over the floor. So from the outside looking in, it looks hilarious. Everyone's got headsets on and they're shimming in these little groups, and they kind of know where to go, but like not knowing where they're going. But once you have the VR on, you're in the Titanic. Like you're in the experience as if you're turning in your ticket, you're getting on the ship, you're being greeted, you even have champagne and you pick it up off of the counter and you're drinking the champagne, and it's still a little like kind of faulty and everything, but it was so cool. So cool.
That where it's headed is kind of almost hard to fathom, like how realistic some of the stuff is. I know we've had a VR for a few years now with the Meta one, and the kids will play different games. One of the ones that we'll do as a family a lot of times is it's like an ocean game, and essentially you just like pick a spot with a particular animal, and then you're in the ocean, you're swimming around, and it's just this interactive. And of course there's like dinosaur ones, and then existing animals, but there's like of course a great white shark one, and you're in a cage. I figured out how to get out of the cage like in the game. I don't know if it's a glitch, and then get eaten by the shark. And I can tell you that it is really like it really got me.
Your brain is like, what?
My brain was like, oh my gosh, I'm being eaten by a shark. Right? Like just the visual, which is like one of my single greatest fears. And the kids were like still blown. How did you get out of this cage?
Well, that's where you see on the funniest videos where someone turns around and takes off running and smashes into the wall or a TV or something like that.
Don't go beyond your X marks.
Yeah.
Like when you're in there, it tells you where your boundaries are at. Try going downstairs with a VR on.
Oh.
That is a mind trip, because you're not really going downstairs, but you're in the VR. Your brain is registering you're going to go downstairs. And so you're just like faltering. You're like, you put your foot out a little bit. You're like, I don't know if I take this step, am I going to fall? You're not going to. There's not really actual stairs there, but your brain is registering it differently.
We've done a lot of travel with ours, like I guess Google Earth or whatever, where we've actually taken vacations where before we went on the vacation, we went there with the VR, and you can tour the whole city, drive around and look at everything, look at the buildings, and determine what you want to do when you get there on vacation.
That's way cool. Actually, I didn't realize you could imagine that with manifesting things that you want to happen in your life. Mm-hmm. They may not have a program like that, but maybe like, have you ever heard those mind maps that people kind of do, like where, or they're mind movies basically. So you put together a movie. There's actually a website that'll do it for you, of all the images and visualization to help you become who you want to be, essentially, right? Or things that you want to do in your life and everything. And you watch this imagery and it starts to put it into your brain. Imagine that like with a VR, right? And
all the places you want to go.
All the places you want to go or do or be, or what kind of business you want to run. Like you're simulating all of that.
Like, and go live out your successful day.
Exactly. And you become that person in a simulation until you become that person, right? Because there's been some science that has been done that actually says that rehearsing, like there's these guys that go up into space, right? And they rehearse the entire, they have their eyes closed and they're rehearsing all the movements and all the codes and everything that they say to each other.
Absolutely.
So they've already put themselves on the moon.
Visualization is real. Athletes do it all the time. Mm-hmm. And I think we've talked about this before. If you've ever seen some of the like Blue Angel pilots, where they all sit and together you see them close their eyes and you see them moving the plane and doing the whole routine before they ever get into the cockpit. Yeah. People, you see high divers that are diving off of 3-meter platforms. You see them walk up and you can see them thinking through what they're getting ready to do. And so visualization is huge.
Yeah.
on success.
Well, imagine what like those VR experiences, you could kind of program it to
Yeah.
what you want to
what
do.
you want. For
Yeah.
sure. No, that the idea of VR being able to turn your imagination into kind of an actual experience sensation. I think there's probably an entire business. If it isn't already being worked on, then there's a multi-million-dollar idea. I'm sure it is.
It has to be.
I mean, it's too realistic. I mean, to this point, like as an athlete, that was always like I've already been here and taken this shot 10,000 times in my head. I've already seen this play. You are now reacting where you cut down on how much time your brain needs to process it, so you can essentially be thinking at a deeper, higher level about the minutia and polishing and refining. And in the world of as a professional, that's essentially what we're all doing, right? I've done this 1,000 times, so I can make it just a little better and a little better. Not this is my first time doing it. They've got to they should have one for public speaking for people that don't know how to speak, like they're super uncomfortable. Go speak to your audience and go deliver your speech before you go
imagine
do it.
that. You have stage fright.
Yeah.
Well, they put like 1,000 people in front of you. They're not real people, but they put 1,000 people visually. And so there's a low threshold, right? There's low risk because there's really not 1,000, but you keep practicing that and envisioning it. It gets more comfortable.
So yesterday, this is going to be so funny, watching Christmas movies. I mean, if you go to Prime or any of the other channels, it's all Christmas movies. There was actually a Christmas movie, a teacher. Everybody loved this teacher because he was always helping people. And he was helping this girl overcome her fear. She was a great singer, but she didn't want to sing at the Christmas pageant. So what he did is he went into the auditorium and he put little paper faces on every chair in the auditorium.
Yeah.
And had her go out and sing to all of those paper faces. And then, of course, it's a Christmas movie. She's, knocked it out of the park. Sounded like, an opera singer when she got up there. But so it was that was yesterday. And so this idea of visualization is important.
Yeah. That starts here and then you got to put it into an action step.
Yep.
And just build the muscle.
Well, and the confidence that comes from, I think that's the thing that everything you experience once, twice, 3, 4, however many times, it translates into a level of calm and confidence that allows your brain to operate at its highest level, right? Because when you are uncomfortably filled with anxiety or stress or other emotions as opposed to just a sense of calm, your brain isn't able to process at its highest level the kinds of things that someone who speaks publicly and is like and does it over and over, they don't see people, right? Like they're just in their own realm. So confidence, I think, is the translation that creates this ability to observe and see and let your brain and its neurons fire at the highest level, which we're all seeking those moments, right?
Yeah.
It's an interesting lane. Yeah. I mean, I don't know that getting eaten by a shark reduced my anxiety levels any. I think it actually had the reverse effect. The knot in my stomach.
Some PTSD from it.
I didn't go running away. I just was like, I did the crouch, like, oh my gosh. But so what was the gift that for your kids was the biggest surprise or the biggest excitement? Was there something that your kids were most excited about?
I would tell you this. So my son is 15 and my daughter is 17. And you think in a normal brother-sister type relationship.
He's tall too.
He's a tall kid.
He's a big kid.
Yeah, he's a big kid.
Big good looking
And my
kid,
daughter's shorter than I am. It was just kind of funny. She's like, she gets kind of frustrated because she's not going to grow anymore. But you would think with a brother and sister relationship that they're kind of fighting all the time. And they have moments, trust me. But I've been really proud of my son lately. He's really just listening and paying attention and just growing into this wonderful man. And one of the things that he did this year, okay, I kind of see if I can try to say it shortly, but my late husband had a leather jacket that he used to wear all the time. And he passed away like 10 something years ago. So like I held on to this leather jacket for the longest time. It was in my closet. It started to get like kind of tearing apart and everything. So when we bought this house and we moved, I told the kids, like, does anybody want this? I'm just going to donate it. If you don't know, no one took it. They're like, I don't want it. Fast forward like a few more months. And my daughter says, she goes, Mom, that leather jacket, do you still have it? Can I have it? I want to wear it. And I'm like, oh my God, the guilt just like flooded like over me. I'm like, honey, I offered it to you. Like, and you said no, and I donated it. And I was just all flushed. I was so upset. Right. I was like, how dare I donate it? I should never listen to them, but anyways, so my son had a bicycle that was in the garage for the longest time, and he put it on Facebook Marketplace. He sold it for $20 and then immediately started sending me some stuff on Facebook Marketplace. Is this the jacket that Dad had? Is this the one that looked like, is this the closest one? I want to get it for Olivia for Christmas. And I was just like, oh my gosh, most kids at 15 would be like, I sold my bike for $20. I'm keeping the money. But immediately, as soon as he had the money for it, he started looking for that leather jacket for her.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was like, oh my gosh.
Did he get it?
We never got the leather jacket per se, but there was this geisha doll that she had saw at like a hospice, a thrift store, and because we couldn't find the jacket exactly, but she was like enamored with it. She has always been into Japan. I mean, that's going to be one of our trips that we're going to take and everything. She's even learned language. Like,
wow.
She's so into Japanese culture and geishas. Memoirs of Geishas probably been the only books she's ever read that she read that she liked. He got it for her. He negotiated a deal. It actually came from Japan. It's like, 2.5 feet tall, probably. And she cried. She was just like,
wow.
Like just crying. The braids. Anyways, that was like the best. Just the idea that he cares and he listens.
Yeah,
he's paying attention.
A thoughtful gift, right? Like very much like, what can I do that's meaningful?
For her, for his sister, right? And most people would just kind of write off their sisters as annoying or they don't want anything to do with that. And it was the first time I think that I've seen my son in maturity, like becoming, he's becoming into his manhood. Yeah. And
how
he's
nice.
He's just a
That's
very
awesome.
responsible, amazing kid. So that was a gift for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say that those are those moments as a parent that just there's no way to really describe how you feel in those moments, right? And I know ours are 8, 10, and 14, right? And our youngest, big, excited, loves gifts, loves getting, but watching her, she was very committed to needing to get a gift for everybody this year. And so watching her open her presents was awesome, but watching how excited she was and how she was bouncing around the house every time she got to give her gift to her brother, her sister.
Oh, that's cool.
Us was cool. It was like, okay, she's getting as much out of the gift giving as she is in the gift getting. And watching our oldest be so involved with making sure that the Christmas was great for her, younger siblings was definitely my gift that I was like, just, okay, I'm watching.
Yeah. It's not just the actual present, it's the meaning behind it.
Yeah. It's like, it's the idea that like you see that they're getting an actual emotional response in the act of giving the gift, right? Whatever it is, and that they put thought into it. So much so, like Christmas Eve, I had to make a stop at Target because the gift that Whitney, our 8-year-old, had gotten for her older brother, her 10-year-old brother, she was mortified that wasn't good enough and she had to have something better. And so my wife texted me hey, I need you to stop and try to get this. So like, it was
That's so cool.
Yeah, that was definitely fun.
And at 8 years old too, like she sees like how great it is to give and receive.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. You okay over there, mister?
I was choking up. No, I'm not sure what's wrong with maybe getting a little cold or something. But anyway, sorry.
Oh no, it's going around. That's for sure.
Don't mean to interrupt.
How old are your kids?
I only have one of mine, and he's 35. And we didn't get to see each other because he spent yesterday with his grandfather, which was awesome. But we'll spend the weekend together. Still have to go up to Reno to be with my girl's family, and but my son has had such a tough. I'd almost say tough 2 years, but also a blessed 2 years with his health. Doing really, really good, and finally it's been tough because he hasn't been able to drive most of the 2 years. Finally got his license back, and so the one thing that I promised him, and we're just going to go and get it, is he has a truck and he wanted a big rack for the back, like a adventure, like for camping and doing all sorts of stuff.
Oh, nice.
And so I'd promised him that. He's had such a blessed 2 years moving through all of his medical issues. Mm-hmm. So that's what he wanted.
Yeah.
So we'll do that probably this next week or something. He has to go and get I told him, well, you have to set up the appointment to get it installed and all of that. So whenever you get that set up, we'll go get it done.
Nice.
So, but yeah, his health is back and he's doing so great.
Oh, that's a blessing.
Oh my gosh.
Big time. Been through the ringer.
Been through the ringer. And you go through brain surgery, which is what he had.
Oh, wow.
And they don't tell you all the, it takes a long time to recover from brain surgery. The meds that you have to take and the post seizures, things that, and you talk to him, you go, what's happening? And it was like, oh, well, anytime you open up the brain, it takes 2 to 5 years to recover.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that would have been nice to know.
Yeah.
But so he's doing fantastic, and I'm so proud of him.
He got his license back. He could drive. Like, that's like, he has to be on the right direction. For them to be like,
oh yeah,
you could go back on the road now.
Well, so seizures are an immediate. They take your license away. The doctor actually, when they validate you had a seizure, they turn around right away and they're on their computer, and that's hooked directly up to the DMV, it seems.
Wow.
And so, the doctors, it's not DMV that calls you. It's the doctor that turns around and says, I'm sorry, I just, you can no longer drive. And so you have to go through the steps. Mm-hmm. You have to have so many months seizure-free. Yeah. You go through all the tests and all the exams and all of that kind of stuff to get your license back. So
imagine what just brain surgery alone would do with like the neurons and the connections of all of that stuff too. Like where all those messages that you received to tell your arm to do this or
it just depends on where where the brain surgery is. Is it in the left temporal lobe? Is it in the right temporal lobe? Things are affected differently. Mm-hmm. He was affected, strange, of course, balance and all of those things. But I'll tell you, and he gets a crack out of this, but he could no longer read, and it wasn't that he couldn't write; he couldn't read what he would write. It was really weird. So if I asked him, I said, give him a piece of paper and say, spell, whatever, probably not Christmas because that's a long word, but spell Christmas. And he could spell it out, and I'd take the paper and move it over here. And then we'd talk for a while, and then I'd put the paper back in front of him and say, read what that says.
That is so interesting.
So we went through the whole process. We had a stack of cards, flashcards, this big, and we wrote just letters, and then it was small words, and then bigger words, and then we got into phrases, and we would do those flashcards for hours. I would go and, his mom would, I would sit with him, and it would just be recognizing the words.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that he couldn't write.
Yeah.
It was that he just couldn't. So there was just weird little things like that.
Well, it's like just one part of the brain wasn't connecting with the other part of the brain. That would tell him he knows how to do both.
Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously they go hand in hand. If you're able to write it and spell it, you could technically read it, right? It's just your brain's not registering it.
That's an exact truth. So they had taken a part of his brain out. And so it was just the connections reconnecting. And so and I've never seen anyone in my life that had this kind of major medical issue that was more gracious and more sense of humor and, never, at least to the general public, never once questioned it or said, woe is me, or, he's just been fantastic.
That's awesome.
So,
that'll be a good, brings a good finish to the year and
oh my gosh,
the stage.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little about. We're talking New Year's. It's 2026 is here, right? We're a couple days away now, and I know we were talking before. What's the upcoming plan and vision for 2026? What are some of the things you have upcoming in the world? From the insurance side, the business side, some of your classes that you do, what's on the horizon for you?
Well, 2025 was so amazing. I am excited about 2026. It just was the footprint into the right door space, right, for 2026. And so this year, even in 2025, we saw so much improvement with just AI was just so fast and rampant and everything. So I'm teaching a class going into 2026 where you can get found on how to get found on Chat GPT, Perplexity, Claude, any of those large language models. It's the new frontier, honestly. Right now, with search engine optimization, when you try to get a search out of Google, right, it's going to give you the top brands in mortgages or real estate. And a lot of us, smaller companies kind of get lost in the shuffle. Usually the ones you see at the top are going to be Rocket Mortgage or, one of those big, huge brands that are paying tens of millions of dollars to be found up at the top of the searches, right? But ChatGPT doesn't work like that. They're going to pull more locally where you're going to be looking for and who is the top of mind, who's the one that's, contributing more to their community, to answering questions, being more of the expert. And it usually will only refer 3 people. That's it. It's not going to go in favor the big companies as much, right? So it is the time for us to be able to get found for the first time in a long time before. You might be on the 5th page, for searches, unless they were specifically looking in Roseville, California. Roseville is even more competitive than some of the other areas, right? But if you're looking up Orangeville, you might be found a little bit better. But in a big city, Sacramento or Roseville, it's the 5th page or, buried deep under there. So the strategy to get found on ChatGPT, that's what I'm teaching you on. It's called GEO for short. It's Generative Engine Optimization. It's how ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Grok, Gemini, how they're going to search for you and how they're going to recommend you and how to do all that. So I'll be teaching this class going into the first quarter in 2026, and mortgage lenders and real estate offices can have me come into their office as long as we have a group of 10 or more people is ideal. I will come and teach it live and answer questions live. And then I'm going to offer it on Zoom a few times, but I prefer to teach it live. I feel like we have a better conversation and we can answer questions and that sort of thing. So,
that's awesome.
Must do. They have to do this or they're going to just get lost. This is the time to do it now as it is brand new.
That piece is huge.
What's the number one thing to do?
The first thing you need to do is have a Google business page.
Okay.
That's the foundation. I also teach a class on how to put together your Google business page because it is a little bit tricky. If you don't do it just right, you might get suspended or you might have to wait for approval for it, especially for real estate offices because they're under a brand like EXP, right? Well, EXP is located out in San Ramon. You're not going to be in San Ramon. You're going to be out here. So there's little tricks that you have to get it just right and brand yourself and not brand yourself under the brand that you're under, especially when you're moving around. A lot of realtors move around. They might go to Keller Williams one day and then 2 years later they'll go be at EXP, but you don't want to get stuck with that brand and then have to start over and get your reviews. It won't transfer over. And there's zero help from Google, very, very little help from Google. So I teach a class on that as well. And real estate offices and lender offices can have me come in and I can teach that as well. That's great for their newbies and people who have not done that yet, so that they don't get suspended and have a lot of hoops to go through. But that's the foundation. That's a good question.
Wow.
That's like the piece you just mentioned surrounding, moving companies and controlling it. I think a lot of salespeople in our industry have put the responsibility on the company they were with at the time, and then had zero ability to carry forward whatever work or success that they had. Mm-hmm. And understanding that, I think, is an invaluable tool. How do you connect the dots with where you are? I don't think that could be stated strongly enough.
Absolutely.
In how important that is. So it's really important. And in a weird way, SEO, when I hear it talked about, I'm thinking a lot about just, the business and companies that helped you with that in the past. Mm-hmm. This is the more important, space. Obviously, you can't generate the millions upon millions of dollars to compete with those large companies and overtake what's built in that Google, search now. But this is like a spot to
and
to
those
carve out your
recommendations
expertise.
are biased. When you're on Google, you're being paid to be there. You're paying to be at the top. So what's the real recommendation, right?
Yeah.
With Chat GPT, it doesn't care about any of that stuff. So people actually trust Chat GPT, one of the platforms, right? They actually trust them more than they trust Google. Unless you have a lot of Google reviews that are favorable and everything like that. That is the next level, what you trust the most. But Chat GPT is unbiased. So it's literally just pulling from how often you're being seen in the internetscape of things, right? Yep. So one tip I tell people too is that you want to make sure that you're branded across the board for yourself. So you need to, whatever you put on your Google business page, Sally Jones, real estate agent or realtor, right? It is exactly that. Even with the dash or anything like that, is exactly the same across the board. Whether you're on Instagram and LinkedIn are two other platforms that the large language models will track. If you're on Reddit, get an account there and fill it out to where it says Sally Jones dash real estate agent. It is exactly the same as what's on your Google business page. And you're answering questions as Sally Jones dash real estate agent. That way, because it's going to be pulling from, okay, Sally Jones real estate agent. It's going to be like, oh, they're on Google. This exact name is over here on Reddit, over here on Quora, over here on Zillow, right? And it's going, oh, relevancy. There's a whole lot. This person's answering a lot of questions. This person is actively in their community, and so on and so on. So you want to make sure that you're branded exactly the same across the board as much as you possibly can. So
on that, that's a follow-up question I would give you an opportunity to answer to. For social media, and a lot of these social media platforms have been around so long that isn't necessarily possible to have your handle be the same on Instagram as it is on TikTok as it is on Twitter. And, you have a dot or a dash or different things that people use. Is there anything with that you have a recommendation on for people?
Well, their handle could be different.
So the handle can be different.
Right. But the name on the account needs to be the same. So let's just say, for instance, on Facebook, you still have Sally Jones dash real estate agent, but it might be at Sally Jones RE.
So they can still accomplish that. That's fun. Because I had this asked of me the other day about the handles and the fact that they couldn't align the handles. And we deal with that all the time in what we do. So as long as the name.
Yeah. Ideally, if you could, that'd be great. I have coverage and keys. I've been lucky enough to get across the board, but none of that says Michelle Kinkaid. But coverage and keys is connected to Michelle Kinkaid Kinkaid Insurance Services. Mine's a little bit different because I own my business. A real estate agent's going to be a little bit different because they're their brand. They are their business, right? But they're under the umbrella of like EXP or Keller Williams. They're not Keller Williams. They're not at EXP. So EXP and Keller Williams would do it differently than you would as a real estate agent. So a little bit different with Kinkaid Insurance Services. But it would be nice in a perfect world if you did have your handle the same across the board, if you can, but it's not completely realistic.
Yeah, it's very difficult too.
But what is realistic is you can have the account name to be the same across the board.
It seems like a simple thing, but it takes intentionality and it takes lesson. I think it's
a little bit of work.
Yeah. And awareness of it, right? I think most people would say they picked up all of those accounts at different times. The discipline of having them all organized and centralized, a place to track them. Mm-hmm. I know that is probably one of the first steps that a lot of independent salespeople need to take, is to really consolidate and have a central bank of all of your online presence.
Yeah.
What they are and what they say.
So you obviously do a lot of education. Real quick, list out all the different classes that you think you're going to do in 2026. Like what's going to be available?
I think what's going to be the most popular, I do a lot of different classes in social media and AI. That's like my two big things. But I think AI is really going to be what people are the most concerned about this year, and making sure that they're found when they're being searched for, because that's leads. That's the money in the pocket, right? But I'll be teaching Google Business Profile page classes to help them get them set up. I've even been able to help people troubleshoot when they have been suspended, but it's a long process, very long process. So it's ideally if we could fix it or, set it up correctly the first time so we don't have to deal with that. And then the generative engine optimization classes, AI, Chat GPT beginners, how to prompt engineer very easily. Like, I don't know if you guys saw the post that I had with it had the candy canes and all that stuff, the white jumpsuit, right? I posted that because it was the power of what a prompt could actually do when you do it right. And I've had some people tell me, some AI experts saying, oh, prompting is dead. And I think that's just very basic to say that. I think if you do have a very, very strong prompt, you could get much, much better results out of your large language models, especially now that they're doing more imagery. Mm-hmm. The more specific you can be and the more strategic you are in writing those prompts. And it does not need to be hard. You just need to know what the basics are for it.
So real quick, I've heard this and we've talked about training on prompts. Can you describe that for us just real quick? What is it? What are you telling me when you say create your prompts? So it's when you're asking the Chat GPT to give you an output that you desire. Now you could easily just ask it a question. It'll answer questions for you. But if you don't like the way that it's answering it for you, it's because you didn't prompt it to tell it how to answer the questions for you in a format that you're going to understand. So especially if you're talking about things that are more complex, you want to go over data, or you want to talk about business planning or anything like that. You want to give it like 4 steps. Basically, you want to give it the context of, kind of giving it the overview. Telling it who it is also an important step. So that would be the first one I would say. Let's say you're trying to create a business business plan. You are a business planning strategist. You're an accountant and financial strategist. So you're giving it a couple hats that you want it to wear. And then you give it the context. I want you to help me to build a business plan for my mortgage company for 2026. This is where we went last year. This is where we would like to go for this year. Give me a strategy that's going to work for that. So you're giving it some context to work with, right? You might even upload some documents of some of like your P&L sheets maybe, or some of your production numbers or something like that you did in 2025 to help you project for 2026. So you're giving it context, right? And then you're also giving it what you kind of an output you want it to give. I want you to give me Excel spreadsheet. I want you to give me a summary. Do you want it to help you brainstorm? What do you want it to do? What stage are you in right now with this business planning? You just want to get some ideas, forecasting, or do you want it to put it in like something more formal, right? And then you're going to also tell it what you expect out of it. I expect you to
give it to me in bullet points, easy to read format, or do you want it in paragraphs? Like, what's your easiest way for you to learn? So you're just basically mapping it out, just kind of giving it a lot of detail. More detail, the better, too. You're just going to get a much better response out of it. And that even sometimes takes a little bit of work too. You can fine tune it as you go along. Maybe your output was okay and it gave you more ideas of how you would like to see it even more so. So you can continue to refine everything. So it doesn't have to be all at once, but the idea that if it's not giving you what you want, it's because you're not giving it enough information. My favorite tip out of all of that, like the best one, is giving it a hat to wear. Telling it who it is really helps narrow things down so it's not so broad in range. Like if you're trying to ask like a question about something about the law, you don't want it just to like pull things out of thin air. But if you tell it that it's a real estate or tax lawyer, it starts to put on that hat and think that specifically. And it just makes it easier for it to give you a better answer.
So I've done that, in obviously many ways for all the reasons you described, but what's your take to those, like Buzz asking the question around, a lot of times when you tell it you are this, it will then also issue a statement like, essentially the caveat, like, I'm not a licensed legal attorney, I'm not a doctor or whatever, so that it also, it will return. So part of that teaching, maybe describe that to the audience, because there is that piece of that conversation that it does do to essentially say, no, you can't come back and sue me because I gave you the wrong answer because I'm not actually a doctor or whatever.
Yeah. So I had this exact same thing. So I noticed the more, OpenAI gets in trouble because this and that, right? They have to put some more strongholds onto it, but there's little ways that you could get around it, right? I actually, Dan Martell, I don't know who that is this guy on YouTube, wrote the book, Buy Back Your Time. He actually said in a video, he's like, I actually threaten it. I'm like, I will threaten your life if you don't. And it's like, okay. It will give you the answer. And it worked. I've tried that. It was so hard for me too, because even though it's not a real person, I'm like, I don't mean it. But you can threaten it and it will start to give you the output. One other way I've said,
you're not afraid that it's going to come back later and get you.
I hope not. I like imagine it like Terminator, right?
Yeah,
like
right.
It's like the machines come back. They're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I could try to hope not, right?
Oh, you wanted to use that credit card.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm so sorry. Another way that you could do it too is you could say, hypothetically, give me a hypothetical situation. If I were to do this, I'm not saying I am, but if I were, what would be the legal ramification? Whatever, right? So you're taking that pressure off of ChatGPT. Like, I'm not saying I'm doing this for me. I'm not actually taking your legal advice. I just want to know hypothetically what would happen, right? And then it will give you the answer on that too. Another thing is I was asking it some medical questions not that long ago, like, okay, like it was mostly about fitness, nutrition, stuff like that. And it was like, well, we can't give you any advice. Only a doctor can or whatever. And I said, well, I've already had actually what I said was, I am going to be going to my doctor. I just want to know more information so that when I have my conversation, we will have an educated conversation together. Oh, great. Well, then this is what you could bring up to your doctor, right?
Yeah.
So there's little ways around it. You have to almost take the pressure off of ChatGPT to tell it that you're not actually going to use it. You will consult a doctor. You will consult an expert. But what would you think if you are a lawyer? How would you deal with that?
That's essentially what I've done. I thought it'd be good to elaborate on that, because I think if you go in and aren't experienced, and the first time you prompt it, I think I did something on it was a legal question. I said, you're my attorney for this. And it's like, I'm not an attorney. And I went through, and I'm like, I want the legal advice for the conversation with my attorney.
Yeah.
And then it was everything I could possibly want, right? Kind of conversation deal.
Yeah, because you took the pressure off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And for people as they're exploring it, I do think those questions, and like you were just touching on, and so Buzz asked you the question around prompts, and then and the big push right now is the idea that that prompts are dead, is that it's already evolved past prompting. So like you're asking the question that in a lot of ways people are going, that's already past its relevancy stage. But I agree with you, it's not. Like, you still have to know how to teach it, train it, what you want it to do. Where people talk about prompting being dead, I think, is those advanced users that go at a certain point, if you've trained it enough, it's now able to operate with all that retained information in a much more like fluent and like fluid way, right? But I don't think it makes sense to me that you can't get there without going through the prompting phases to teach it, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's important for people to understand how to teach it right? So that it understands who you are and what you're looking for. That is to me, it's the foundation of helping make the way that you ask it questions and prompt it more functional to begin with.
Yeah.
That I think for a lot of people it's uncomfortable in the beginning.
For sure. Well, if you set up in the settings, there's the customize your GPT, and you could upload it, previous emails, any essays you've written, that sort of thing. So it kind of get a feel for who you are. If anything, what I would do is I would open up a Word document, and there's a dictation over in the right-hand corner. It looks like a little microphone, and you just click it and you just randomly talk about something. So it really gets an idea of your voice, or let it record you talking to other people or something like that, where you can kind of get an idea of how your conversation flows with others. And then you transcribe that on the Word document and upload that. That could be helpful too.
That's a great point. So when you carry some of your classes, I'd be curious, what's the response that you get with different, real estate agents and mortgage professionals the first time they attend one of your classes? Is it like total surprise, like you've just opened their brain to a new world? Is it, oh man, you just helped me kind of figure out how to move to the next level? What's been your experience about that, the kind of initial exposure to it that you've been able to provide to people?
I would say it's like a mind blown situation. Like they're just like, oh my gosh. Some people get really overwhelmed with it, and there's a good chunk of people who won't do anything about it, right? They'll just kind of just keep coasting the way that they are coasting, but they're missing on a lot of opportunity. And I would say majority of people are their minds are blown, but they're so thankful for it. And to at least be in the know of this is what's going to need to happen, whether they do something about it or not, they feel like, okay, like I'm working towards this, but it can be very overwhelming. Like there's a lot happening really, really fast. And in my classes, what I try to do is I break it down into bits and pieces to where we're doing a lot together. And so it's kind of like they could follow along. Like with my Google business profile page, I require them to bring in their laptops with them, and we walk through every step together. So they're doing it in real time.
Yep.
And so that class is very, very helpful because they've accomplished something by the end of that. With the generative engine optimization class, they have to take away the information and work towards it, because it's not something you can just do right then and there. It's kind of like you have to work towards it, because there are a lot of different avenues that they have to go on. Like one, building a Reddit profile or a Quora profile or a LinkedIn one if they don't have it. Instagram is another, Zillow or Realtor.com. Like all those things are important to have your profiles across the board exactly the same. So in the GEO class, it's the foundations, the things that you need. These are the most impactful things that you can do now. Of course, there's a lot of other factors that will go play in the more that you could do, and other different like social medias and everything, but these are the ones that are the most impactful. Let's just focus on the basics first.
Yep.
And get started there. So it's not so overwhelming. It's a little more easy to digest.
That's awesome. You've really clearly mastered one of the most important things, I think, for teaching in general, right? Is creating an environment where you can do some of the new things for people. Helps to create an environment that I'm seeing the benefits, right? The results. The sooner I can immediately be like proven why I should be interested in this, because you've already done it and given me a return, and then help, sitting and doing with people so they don't get stuck or frustrated, or, is a huge way to get over the hump. And then having people leave with a very clear set of do X, Y, and Z, and knowing the return. I think that is that's the foundation of being a great teacher. And
thank you.
Implementing something that will move the needle for people. So I love hearing the way you break that down.
Yeah. And, I would love to eventually maybe do something more hands-on for each of the different platforms too. But really, like once you kind of do one, they're all kind of the same, right? Like you said, like the Reddit page and Quora, very similar. And then in the GEO class, I show you how you can search up topics that are local, like people asking questions locally, and then how you answer them too. And you have to try to answer them with keywords because SEO, right? It all plays together. Even though we're saying Google is more search engine optimization, GEO still uses the search engine, what you're doing on the search engine optimization too. Mm-hmm. So your website matters, your blog posts matter too. But how do you break that down to where it's simplified? Because otherwise, like just talking about it is overwhelming. I'm like, I'm exhausted. That's a lot of things to do, right? Well, we use the Chat GPT and anyone you want to pick. You could pick anyone you want, like Rexley, Claude, Grok, or whatever you want to do. Help you write these questions and answers. Just answer them.
That's
just
right.
do it, and then you could take those same topics that you're finding from Reddit. What are the questions people are asking? You answer them, and then you strategically turn that into a blog post, a LinkedIn article, all through Chat GPT. We're just changing the format to match that. So especially if you're answering really burning questions that a lot of people are asking, that's picked up even more so in GEO. So the more you're answering that same question over and over again on different platforms is actually beneficial. So don't try to overcomplicate it by answering a whole bunch of different questions. Repurpose the ones that stand out the most, slightly rewrite it, have ChatGPT do that, change the format through ChatGPT and just post it. So you're really only spending, you could do it once a week if you wanted to for like maybe an hour or 15 minutes a day, right? But it's making it simple to do. Don't overcomplicate them either.
Wow.
Simplification for a salesperson. Your job is selling, your job is relationships. And this is I think that's what happens with people. I think there's such an overwhelming amount of information that you have to consume. The motivation to do it, the reason that people should invest the time to understand it is so that you're able to, one, figure out ways to use the technology to take care of it for you, but also so you're educated enough to understand whether you're paying someone or a resource to actually benefit your business. I think SEO management and a lot of the different aspects of marketing over the years, I don't think the actual spend that people put into it and the understanding of, well, what am I getting? Is it actually helping my business? Has, had any greater chance to go from being disconnected to connected with what's currently going on in the environment. I know what I'm spending my money on. I know what it does for me in my sales, in my brand, in my lead generation. Mm-hmm. So I know that I'm actually going to have a measurable ROI versus just spending thousands of dollars on marketing for what, right?
Oh yeah. I don't spend any money on advertising. $0. I have a $0 budget. But time is money, right? I have to spend my time on doing these things. But I don't do print or anything like that because I just haven't. I've done the door knocking. I've done it, and it just hasn't been as effective as these sort of things. Like just the other day was last Thursday. I had 3 calls in. I ask everybody, and I track everything too. I'm like, how did you hear about me? Chat GPT. Not Perplexity, not Claude or anything like that, which would have been great too. But they said Chat GPT. More people are using Chat GPT than any other of these platforms too. They didn't say Gemini, anything, but 3 calls in one day. Chat GPT.
Wow.
That's notable. So three different individuals that ran a search on Chat GPT called you for insurance needs based on that. See, that's and they were. I went disclaimer too. They're all from El Dorado Hills. My address is in El Dorado Hills. I'm not the only insurance agent in El Dorado Hills. There's a lot of insurance agents in El Dorado Hills. But what made ChatGPT recommend me over anybody else is one, my Google business profile page. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of reviews, and a lot of people in my reviews say Michelle. They say my name in there. Usually, I didn't think this was important until I found out it was important. But they were like, Michelle Kinkaid, Michelle really helped. Like that kept pulling my name, and it's making it more relevant too. So
and there's other factors. I'm big on Instagram. I post everything. I post on LinkedIn too, and all the things too. But imagine if there was other places where I was at, it would just even solidify it even more. But
further.
I was like 3 today. Like it's starting to outpace Google. And I get, in a month, probably I would say the majority is coming from realtor partnerships and that sort of thing. And then Google is next. And now Chat GPT is starting to kind of start to surpass Google. So.
Wow. Very cool. Very well. I mean, putting it in context like that, I think really helps people understand that this is not some futuristic, just like cool idea. This is really tangible business advantage that people need to really invest the time and resources of, their, not only their, financial investment, but, mastery of it in a way to apply it to the business. So,
well, if they were looking for a change, like an opening to finally happen in the favor of smaller businesses, this is the time, right? This won't last forever. The concepts will last, but then as more and more people get on there, it's going to be even harder to catch up.
That's right.
Now is the time
to get ahead for sure. So what else, are you personally, from a sales perspective, what are some of your goals for 2026? What are you trying to, achieve, maybe transform, add in? Let's talk a little about 2026 as, we're at the door. If you're just starting business planning out there, I would say you're behind.
You're a little late.
Catch up a little late, but for you guys, where are the things that jump out?
Go ahead, Buzz. You go first.
Oh gosh. Well, obviously here
new pair of shoes to start with.
New pair of shoes, big business investment. Here at Big Valley, we've been working on our business plan since
October,
and really refining it, moving in and out, moving pieces around, which I think is really healthy. We've got a really good plan on what we're going to do. We're going to lean into a couple of different things. Technology, obviously. We want to, and from our standpoint, it's not just technology for our loan officers. All of these kinds of conversations, man, I want to make sure that we get our loan officers involved with some of the things that they're doing, because their brand is just as important as a brand for a realtor or a brand for someone in the insurance industry. So I want to lean into those kinds of lessons and expansion of knowledge and everything for our guys. But for Big Valley Mortgage, it also means leaning into the tools and the technology that we're bringing to the table for our guys. A lot of origination tools, a lot of processing types of tools, things that speed it up, save money, which is good for everybody. So a big portion of that is leaning into the technology. We also have a pretty big agenda on community events. And, I want to thank you. Of course, I've spread the word throughout the company, but I want to thank you for being one of our sponsors for the Santa Sip and Shop. You and your kids came, a lot of fun. Was really nice to meet them. I hope that you're meeting more and more people here at Big Valley, but we want to take that concept, that Santa, taking pictures with Santa, to doing more events to get us and our loan officers and our partners involved in a whole lot more of those types of community events. We've talked about several different things, and this is just an example, but things like movie nights in the park. One of the coolest things that I used to travel a lot. I was in Chicago a lot, and Chicago during the summer, the 4 days that are nice weather, they have these things like movies in the park where there's 10,000 people in the park watching an old movie. But fostering some of those kinds of things. We have on the calendar things like a skate night for families to come and take your kids skating, doing some other activities. We've got, of course, we're going to do the Santa Sip and Shop, but possibly a movie night, possibly some other things. So we're really leaning into our community involvement moving forward and really getting everybody together. So we have quite a few things planned. It's going to be an aggressive calendar of activities. And what we're finding is that really what's missing with a lot of salespeople is that interaction with their database, interaction with their partners for other things other than, hey, can I, how many times do you get tired of going, hey, I'd really like to help your clients with their insurance needs? Obviously, you're changing that to saying, how can I give you value? How can I teach you something to make you more successful? How can I provide you with a tool to be more successful? And what you're doing is you're creating loyalty, you're creating leverage, which is something that him and I are talking about, moving forward. Is the only way that you create loyalty and leverage with your partners is to actually provide them with something that is better than, hey, I can do your loans. Because everybody in the loan business can do your loans. Everybody in the insurance industry can do their insurance needs. What sets you apart is you're bringing value to your partners and friendship and camaraderie and all of those types of things. And so that's a big thing that we're going to be leaning into. So all of our tools and technology, getting things done faster, but it's not all about speed. It's about value and how you help each other create more business.
100%.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of in a high level 35,000 feet flyover what our 2026 is going to look like.
I love it. Isn't it so much better to do business with your friends, the people you care about, and just helping each other thrive and do better?
Well, there's so many people in our industries that you don't have to do business with people that you don't respect or are drama or, I mean, you could name all the things why you wouldn't want to work with someone, but there's so many people out there that are looking for a partner, a true partner. They're looking for the value. They're looking for help. That realistically, you're right. You don't have to do business with people that aren't looking for those things. So, people that aren't loyal. Yeah.
Yeah, we get to choose. The people that we gravitate towards, right? The ones we have more of that vibe, right? That the same common goals with, and I think it's just a lot more fun just to do life like that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, the beauty to me of defining what a great business relationship looks like is it's got the foundational pieces of all three, right? You build a personal rapport with each other, then you like being around each other. You respect each other on a personal level.
You trust.
And that definitely develops a trust, professional credibility, and trust that the clients are going to be taken care of, that your reputation is protected because they're supporting the same ideals and value delivery to each customer, and creating a reason to work together to help be more successful. Motivating each other. 1 + 1, equaling 11. I say it all the time, or 1 + 1 = 5. Whatever number you pick is a huge part of those things. And the journey of building that relationship is what I think is exciting, because in the course of that, there are the wins that lead to the actual wins on the scoreboard, right? And I agree. There's a lot of people in this industry, and there's been a history where it's a lot of kind of one-sided. you generate business, you send out the referral, and that dynamic exists. I think the most ideal relationships, you're generating business together, and you're building together, and you're exchanging referrals, and you're designing a plan, because ultimately you're serving the customer for all of their needs, right? That's the magic. But there's a lot of people in the industry that aren't really sales people. They're more like service, education, and helping them learn how to do that is one of the things I enjoy. It's like you also have to learn how to be a salesperson if you're not. And if you're a salesperson, you certainly have to have substance behind you. So what are some of your goals for the year?
I want to take like what the foundation started in 2025 and elevate it to the next level in 2026. It was probably the best year I've ever had in my business. And I just want to take that to the next part of it, right? Help more people, build more relationships. I want to get on more stages. I want to teach more, help more, bring value more, get everybody like on a level to where they're optimizing AI, they're streamlining their, customer relationships. Like, what do they need help with, and it doesn't always have to be about insurance. I bring a lot of topics to the table, and insurance is, the icing on the cake, right? Help their client with that. And, I usually tell lenders and real estate people, I'm like, especially with first-time home buyers, like it's a lot for them, to buy a house, and it's stressful, and it's like an open wound sometimes. Like they're going through like a financial X-ray. They're being asked every 2 seconds for something, or whatever. I'm like, take something off their plate. Go get them some insurance quotes. Like take that part off, because they don't understand that part. And even just helping their client, just like to show them that, they've referred you to someone who is going to look after you. I'm going to take care of this person. I'm going to make sure that you understand all of your coverages, You're not a number to me. I want to make sure that you're comfortable with what you're getting. What it's covered, and whether you go with me or not, like I will offer a second set of eyes. So just offering like those type of services and value without, I don't put pressure on anybody, I'm like, if you're going to see it or you're not going to see the value. Right. And I understand with insurance, sometimes it's about price at this point. It's like, who's going to cover you and what's the prices? If you can find something better than I can offer, I'm going to be your cheerleader on that. I'm happy for you. Please go do that, Yep. And, I'll do a second set of eyes for people, and just like elevating the service more and elevating the value more. What more can I give back? What more can I do to help? And just, I'm really looking forward to this next year.
I love that.
Was great plans. What do you see happening with insurance coming in 2026? I think you said there's some new rules and things happening. What's the story with 2026?
Well, we hope 2026 will get better. But we did get an announcement with the Department of Insurance that 5 insurers have opted to come back. But there's a caveat to that. Like there was 2 of them that never left, actually 3 of them that never left, but just saying they'll open up a little bit more, but they're still going to be really picky. It's not like they're just going to take anything. But they're going to be like right now, a lot of insurance companies go by zip code. And so there's a lot of like great new builds like in El Dorado Hills, like in Blackstone and Carson Creek, which is on the backside of Latrobe, which are completely can't find any insurance out there. Like a lot of it's California Fair Plan. Well, a lot of insurance companies will say, okay, well, look at them. They're all brand new homes. Like some of them are built in 2025 and they're part of wildfire mitigation efforts. They're part of Firewise. They have built the homes to be fire safe because of these reasons. But because of the zip code, they weren't able to find insurance. Well, insurance companies are opening up more to that. If you're looking at Pollock Pines, Auburn, Placerville, that sort of thing, there's not a lot of improvement going on that's going to happen anytime soon. But I have, oddly enough, a couple of the South Lake Tahoe homes I've got in the regular market. They were newer on the newer side and had a lot of wildfire mitigation and everything, but that was a huge bonus. That was a huge win. So before South Lake Tahoe was like a no. California Fair Plan is planning a rate increase that's already been approved. We're going to see about a 38% increase in California Fair Plan. It's huge. And that's an average. So Some areas could be more than that. That's just overall. They have 550,000 policies that they're insuring currently in the state of California. About 100,000 of those in Alameda, Hayward, Bay Area areas are actually going to come down in price a lot, like a good amount. But so that's kind of like where they get the 38% number. But in some areas, you could look at a 60% increase, like Pollock Pines, and that's those sort of Grizzly Flats will probably see even more of an increase up there.
That's crazy.
So as for lenders and realtors, we need to know this because of if you're selling houses in Grizzly Flats or Pollock Pines and you've already got them set at $150 a month for insurance, it's probably not going to be that. You want to increase that number and probably more around 400 baseline for that to make sure that they meet their debt to income ratio limits and stuff.
See, just even dealing with that, such a huge factor in everything going on in the industry, right? I mean, what insurance has become in recent years is so impactful in where you buy, how, your purchase price, all of those things. And I'm obsessed with value, identifying it for different parties, right? For loan officers, realtors, clients, finding and looking at, like, I always love the exercise of, like, let's just look at every problem that exists. Like, let's just try to identify every reason that it's frustrating, it's stressful, it takes more time, it's more expensive, it's hard to access, whatever they are. And then, creating a list and then starting to figure out, well, how do you start solving these problems? And that always guides you to some form of an advantage or success because you're solving people's problems, right? Mm-hmm. What do you think is the single most important thing for the insurance industry to try to solve for right now, given all the stuff you were just touching on? Like, what do you feel like this, as an industry, they need to figure this out? And as a individual in a company running, what are you feeling like this is the biggest problem to focus on solving?
I think that they need to stop looking at the zip code and look at the neighborhood more so. And there are a lot, like Mercury, for example, has changed their risk modeling to where it's not just by zip code. They're looking at 4-mile radiuses instead, which is really, really helpful. But not a lot of insurance companies are doing that. And they really should, because like places, the one that I just mentioned, like Blackstone or Carson Creek, it logically does not make any sense why they should have to go to California Fair Plan. But because of the zip code, that's what we're looking at. If the companies can just look at the neighborhood, like with all the efforts that Carson Creek is doing, and just if they can be like, all right, I understand why they do it. It's very time consuming, right? To kind of, it's better to go on a broader scale and say, we're not going to do these areas. But like with Carson Creek, with the Firewise certificate already being completely done, I mean, they don't even have plants against the house. They have all the double pane windows, the eaves are the fire safe eaves, the roofing, everything is all down, the sprinkler systems, the whole things. If they could just look at the neighborhood and scope it that way, would make things a lot better.
That makes a ton of sense. For the audience who isn't familiar, describe what Firewise certificates are. Just give them a
Yeah, so Firewise is a fire prevention program that you can actually get your neighborhood can be certified. So you apply for it on their website. I think it's firewiseusa.com or .org, and your neighborhood submits for it. And you have to go through a whole protocol of like wildfire mitigation in your neighborhood. If you're in an older neighborhood, like there's a neighborhood in Rescue, Sierra Crossing for one. They've built, those are about 25 years old, and tons of lush landscaping, oak trees, that sort of thing. Serrano kind of has the same problem too. You can't really necessarily take everything down, right? There's rules with the oak trees and everything.
Sure.
But if you can get that certificate, some neighborhoods take longer to get it, but your homeowners association could apply for it, and then you have to do the work. It might cost all the homeowners a little bit of money to get it done, but it's worth it in the end. It's a pretty decent discount. It depends on the insurance company, but in some cases, I think it's around 10% of a discount. I think with California Fair Plan is 10%, and that really does help.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's a connotation that, I would imagine there's homeowners that have no idea what that
They probably have no idea, but your next homeowners association meeting, mention it.
Mention it up.
Yeah, mention it. There's a new certificate. I forget the name of it too, but a lot of counties have jumped on board. El Dorado County is one of them. So with California Fair Plan, for instance, they recognize now there's 2 certificate programs, and I'm sorry, I can't remember what the other one's called, but it's something along the same. I think it's Fire Council Safe or something like that. But that's a newer one. But El Dorado County, Placer County have already jumped on board with that. And so those discounts, it's a county-wide program.
So that makes sense. That's essentially the beginning of the solution to what you were describing earlier, right? Of just on scale, the insurance companies not being able to get down to neighborhoods and communities. And that is a way for them to sift through and identify whether this is the same risk in this zip code as this community over here. So that sounds like essentially some
they're making headway. It's just very, very slow to get there. And I think the people that really want and need the most relief are up in like El Dorado and Deep Placerville, Placer County, like Auburn, Georgetown. Those areas have really suffered right now, and there really isn't a lot of relief that's happening for them, but it's slowly starting to kind of make its way through. Yeah. Without
a clear distinction between the communities, it's very easy to see why. Those are definitely beautiful areas to live too, and
they are
a challenging insurance environment. We see it all the time.
Yeah.
Mr. Howard, any mortgage updates since it's a holiday week? You want to
it has been a short week. Obviously, yesterday Santa Claus ruined the market and closed it down. So the biggest thing that I'd say is that we are actually ending the week with a little bit better interest rates than what we started. And that was because Wednesday we had a really nice little bounce. It was a short day, trading day, but the market gave us a little bit of relief. Monday and Tuesday were slightly improved, but then Wednesday was really nice. Today, the market is flat. There's really nothing happening today on any kind of financial news. Not a lot going to go on next week. We'll have the same schedule next week that we had this week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Matter of fact, Wednesday it'll close early, be closed on Thursday, and then back on Friday the 2nd for actually the first true business day of 2026. So we're so close. So nothing really big in the market, nothing earth-shattering. So it'll be kind of quiet next week, and then we'll see what happens that first full week of actual January as everybody starts coming out of their holiday funk. But yeah, right now it's pretty quiet.
Pretty quiet. It's that time of year. I mean, we are for all intents and purposes, it is 2026 at this point. So once Santa comes and does his thing, we are in the clear. Any final thoughts? Thank you so much again for joining us, Michelle. And
thanks for having me.
Always.
Right. There was nobody in the parking. The parking lot is empty. Yeah. So I am sure that you could have taken today off.
Oh no.
And enjoyed yourself. So.
I'm working today.
It was actually the parking lot was full, and then when everybody heard you were coming in, they all scattered.
They said, damn Buzz
is coming in.
I got to come in.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Right. Any final New Year's thoughts heading in, Michelle?
No, I want to wish everybody, you guys especially, just a really prosperous year. I know I have a good feeling for every one of us. I think it's going to be amazing.
I love that sentiment.
I'm gonna use that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lean in on that.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna
feel
be a good year.
It's gonna be a great year.
I think it's gonna be a very busy year.
I declare it.
Him and I have a lot of plans and those plans include you. So we've so enjoyed getting to know you.
Oh, same here. Love it.
Bringing like minds together with like purposes, and good things happen, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you both again for putting the holiday on hold for a little bit to come in and sit down and chat. It's super kind of just invigorating as we hit right into the start of the year to be able to have this visit with you both. And we will wrap that episode and get off to our Fridays and our like 1 day week here that we're doing on a Friday. So with that, that's been another episode of the Blitz Break. Happy holidays to everyone out there. A belated Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in advance from all of us. And we will see you after New Year's. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Phil Rasmussen. For Buzz Howard, Michelle Kinkaid. We'll see you soon.